Another day, another injury. Glad we got that whole Varric business sorted. Whole thing was starting to be a real pain in the ass. So that's your plan, huh? Gassing me up. I don't care enough to stop you. Anyway, seeing as I don't have a ship, I'm kind of out of a job. So I was thinking, if you're looking for an extra hand, I got two. They both work well enough, for my age anyway. But fair warning, I can't do all that moving around and trying new things, stuff that the kids do. Because fact is, I'm retired. Not from work, but life. Nope, it just means when there's a bench, I park my butt on it. If there's meat on the menu, I'm ordering it. Simple as that. Well, I got arthritis, and they shake from time to time. A lot of pain from years of lifting stuff, moving crates, that sort of thing. Put in mind that I got two left feet. What he forgot to mention is that they're attached to my wrists. Then we're on the same page. Good. Oh, and one other thing. I've got a reputation. You ask anyone about Tane Salavea, and they'll tell you he's old and lazy and useless with a gun. And I'm here to tell you that's only half true. I am old and lazy, but I'm okay with the gun. Because we know all the shortcuts, and we don't start fights we can't win. And yeah, I've killed people. I don't go around bragging about it, though. That easy, huh? Didn't even have to bribe you or lie about how good-looking you are. Well then, just tell me where you want me. Guess I'll be heading out. See you later, Captain. Dodger used to be more bustling. A lot of stuff got... Your funeral. Already, huh? Not gonna throw around the ball and do some bonding first? Alright, fire away. That's a long story. You sure you want to hear it? Or are you cool with the short version? Oh god, seriously? Oh, fine. I'll start from the beginning. So I got a reputation in the smuggling business. No muss, no fuss. But my main rule is, I don't rat out my suppliers. And I got 20 months in a Martian prison eating salted rocks to prove it. Sure they did. Freedom, a swanky apartment, and all the steak I could eat. But there's an old saying. You feed birds bread, they forget how to fetch the berry. I don't know about you, but I'm not gonna live a beggar's life to be king for a day. Damn straight. So I'm expecting to do hard labor. Strings on my back like a damn puppet for the UC. But after 6 months, I get out for good behavior. Well, I tell them they got the wrong guy. My behavior flat out stinks. Still, the guard insists. Says someone in a fancy suit vouched for me, and he's waiting at the broken spear. Now, I've never worn a suit in my life, and I don't deal with anyone who does. And I'm willing to bet this guy's favor comes with his own set of strings. Correctamundo. I was on probation, and that means twice the checks and pat-downs. Even if my old contacts were still around, no one would want to take the risk. Anyway, guy offers me a job, but he's real light on the details. He can't tell me what cargo he wants to move. He can't tell me who it's for. Won't even tell me his damn name. Just wrote some numbers on a napkin and left the bar. But the napkin told me all I needed to know. The coordinates and the payment. In advance. Yeah, I normally don't like risky jobs. But hard to say no when you're hungry and tired. And got a bad hip. As for the job, it went down like this. I jump to the location, and there's another guy waiting for me. My job is to pass off the cargo to him. Thing is, he's a real chatty bastard. Tells me the same story I just told you, how he was given coordinates to land and coordinates to jump to. He tells me he thinks there's a whole crew of us working like a relay team, but I keep my mouth shut because it's none of my business. Funny thing is, next time I do the job, the chatty guy's gone, and I'm doing his route instead of mine. Maybe. There's no maybe about it. The guy's dead as groat shit. Anyway, every time I do the job, the jumps get more and more remote, and the relay team gets smaller and smaller. And the more remote the job, the more slick the operation. Faces I haven't seen, shorter drop-offs, no combos. It's all business. Then one day, I'm asked to meet with someone who clearly isn't local. Yep. And yeah, from the start, I had a feeling that's who was going to be at the end of the rainbow. But none of it's real until the leprechauns show up at your door. At that point, I realized the whole thing was a test, and now it's time to jump to the homeland for real. I also knew that if I screwed this up, I'd be a dead man, so pressure was on. I could hear my old man chirping in my head, reminding me to keep from shaking. So I kept still, said nothing, and completed the job. More importantly, I earned their trust. The rest is like that old tale about Jinan and the snake. History. Doctor prescribed it for me. Said it'd be good for my blood pressure. Diet and exercise, where I'm from, those are curse words. But if you want the real story, I became a smuggler for the same reason any hustler, deadbeat, or soldier of fortune does anything. Money. I did it for the money. We had enough. You know how smuggling isn't all the way bad, just a little bad. Well, maybe if we were poor, I would have been a pirate or spacer. But I only had to break the law a little to get by. What, is that supposed to be an insult? In my business, interesting people tend to get caught. I like to think so. I guess I'll start from the beginning. My dad was a military guy, and we moved around a lot. That meant spending a lot of time at spaceports. That's where I got my education. I'd watch how crates were moved, logged, and stashed. I'd see how palms were greased and how to ask for what you want without saying what you mean. Like what? Working for Gal Bank? I don't need that kind of respect. Long story short, I eventually saved enough to buy a small freighter and got in contact with the guy at the Trade Authority. And here's the kicker. My first job? Smuggling a big old pile of Varun heretic writings. At the time, I thought they were just pamphlets. But hey, maybe they were a sign. It's all run by House Dulkef, from managing the supply chain to enlisting spies and doing intelligence. They call themselves the Ministry of Commerce. I thought it was just a fancy name for a smuggling racket, but being on the inside, I could tell you it's a well-oiled machine. Everything runs on time, every book is exact to the decimal, and everybody involved knows to keep their mouth shut. That's how House Dulkef does things from top to bottom. The boss man Hasmack runs a tight ship. You mean all that serpent stuff? I don't know. Isn't any crazier than the Sanctum Universum. I've lived a long time and seen a lot of weird shit. Great serpent, lesser hamster, holy pineapple. It's all the same to me. Pray to whoever or whatever you want. If your creds are good, then so are we. I once smuggled a pack of chunks into Dodra for a herald at the Halls of Healing. I suppose sometimes the best medicine isn't chems or prayer. It's chocolate. I can tell you, but just so you know, talking about this stuff's not really my thing. I'd rather not talk about that. Look, my family and I aren't close. I'd like to give you a sob story like we're all alcoholics or something. But the truth is a lot stranger. We just don't talk. It's not like we hate each other or anything. If I see my brother, I'll be the first to give him a hug. It's just been 10 years since the last one. My thoughts exactly. We're not going to talk about anything important, so why bother? I'll see him when I see him, and get the short version of the last decade or so. Anyway, I know it doesn't make for good conversation, but it's the truth. If you really want to get me talking, better to ask me about homebrewed kombucha or painting miniatures than my family. It can take anywhere from 1 to 4 weeks. Depends on how long you want that SCOBY to ferment. If it's too sour, you can mix it with other liquids, but don't add sugar. That'll restart the fermentation process. Symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. SCOBY. In layman's terms, it's just fermentation and flavor. It's what gives the kombucha its whole vibe. Either way, it's a better use of our time than talking about relatives I can't pick out of a 2-person police lineup. Works for me. Good talk. Hey, that could hurt someone. Make sure it's someone you hate.